Yo, what's up? Literally just came home. You could probably guess where I am right now, but I wanted to talk about One Piece for a second. And more specifically, Shanks. I was on my way home and I was talking to someone about, well, let me just say why. I think Shanks is emo. And the reason why I think that isn't, I haven't thought of it really much, but it's just something strange about that dude, you know? Um, he never really gave me a real sense. When I'm thinking about it now, he never really did give a sense of camaraderie. Or like, yes, even when he had his moments, it was always almost agenda like and didn't really make sense. Taking it back to when he gave his sacrifice his arms for Luffy. We saw Conqueror's Hockey for the first time, but that scene has been played so many times, and I feel like it's we've almost become desensitized to it because it just doesn't make sense. Why would he give up his arm? Like what? Why? Especially okay. Pause. Okay, we can even go into something like this, right? We know that Luffy's fruit is a Nika fruit, right? This is the most powerful fruit. How can Shanks fumble? Really? We've seen the meticulousness of his character. For him to fumble that? First of all, leaving it open for Luffy doesn't make any sense. Him having to save Luffy, or bro, if Shanks wanted, he could have like tapped the ground and eradicated everything in like in a 50-mile radius. He went and lost his arm for what? He has an agenda, obviously, and this is common knowledge, right? The reason why I started thinking about this was I was talking to someone about Buggy. We know Buggy in the new chapter. I should check out the new chapter. I haven't read it yet, but last chapter we saw Buggy's crew now has Jackie, Mihawk, and Crocodile in it, and he's releasing bounties on the Marines. Now, I think it's important to realize, the parallels that Oda likes to use, especially when I'm thinking about Buggy and Shanks, right? Buggy and Shanks, they came from the same place, but one ended up in the bottom of the pirate world, and the other one's on top. But they started out in the same place. So I think that they're opposites of each other, right? Like, they're opposites, obviously. But Buggy isn't bad. Right? He's a quote unquote villain, but his villainousness, I guess, is so like like it's gimmicky, which is true because it is a gimmick. He's blending in. He's being underestimated. He's playing that card very well because we underestimate him throughout the entire show. Like someone said, very similar to Usopp, but we don't even get to see Buggy's character development. So we kind of write him off as comedic relief. But I think with this newest chapter, we're taking him seriously because Mihawk is fighting under him. Mihawk. No one saw that coming. So him playing the role of a bad guy, if he ends up being a villain, it's going to be like, okay, like it wouldn't make any sense because he's playing a villain, and for him to be like, oh guys, just kidding, the corny villain that you thought was corny villain was actually an even worse villain. Like, I guess it would work, but I don't really see it work. I think that Buggy has shown integrity throughout the entire show, and even being the first person to really make Luffy think he was going to die. These are important points to point out, and like at Luffy's almost lowest, not lowest points, but at the those 2 points, at his beginning of his journey, at the middle of his journey, Buggy played an important role. And Shanks was there at those points too. Right? If you guys hear a fart, then that's because you know where I'm at right now. Shanks was at those points too. But if we think about it, like they're paying two sides of a different coin. I think that Buggy has good morale. That means I definitely believe Shanks has the capability to be a sinister character, which I think would tie in well with the entire story. Firstly, because, you know, we know Oda isn't afraid to use treason. Look at Conjudo, right? Over a extended period of time, like that whole Dressrosa thing. This is over like three arcs, like Dressrosa. No, since Punk Hazard, like we've been introduced to Conjudo. So I don't think that, you know, Oda would be scared to make that move. Secondly, his connection with Emu, his connection with the Straw Hat is very, because I remember that scene, you know, in the when Emu looks at this giant straw hat, and I should revisit that scene because he probably says something, or she says something, where he's connected with Emu because he has a very interesting relationship with the Marines. He walked up in the Marines shop and was like, "Yo, I gotta talk to you about a certain pirate," and we assume he was talking about Blackbeard, right? But we don't know. He could be talking about Luffy. But Shanks, he throws me off now. You know, I used to really like him, but he throws me off just because. And even at that new chapter, he was like, "Yo, Ben Beckham, we should go pick up the One Piece." Anything that comes out of his mouth, I don't know if we should take it as true, if he can or even should or would, because he's not playing the game. You know, for my thing, it looks like he's groomed Luffy. He wanted Luffy to be Joy Boy. He wanted these things to happen. He's orchestrated this entire thing with Luffy, Joy Boy, and even Emu looking at the big Straw Boy hat, the big Joy Boy hat, and him saying, you know, Luffy, come find me when you're a pirate. Come find me. You know, always being at the tip, but then always running away. You know, his character has, and personally, the only reason why I feel like we're scared to acknowledge this and present this as an actual thing is because Luffy looks up to Shanks. So what will it do to Luffy when Shanks isn't the person he thought he was? And how will that affect Luffy's dream of wanting to be Pirate King, because it was all inspired by Shanks, right? And one last thing, you know, Madam Shirley, I think that's her name, whoever the thing was at Fishman Island, she saw a video of him destroying Fishman Island Art, but now we know that Wano was actually part of Fishman Island or underground. So it could be that Luffy's destroying that place, and it's not necessarily. I think they just left Wano. I have to read the chat. Anyway, I'm rambling now, but Shanks, who are you?